Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League Show. I'm your host Matt Starr as always, and wow, how close are we now to playoffs, by the way. It seems like only yesterday we were talking about, oh, we're at the midway point and there's still so much Pokemon left to play, but there isn't. There's not that much Pokemon left to play. We've got this week, next week, the week after that, and then we're at playoffs. It's like 2-3 weeks. It's, yeah, exactly, Dave. Week 8. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we're right on the home stretch now, and this is a lot that's already been decided at this point, which is quite surprising in itself. And then there's still so much left to decide in terms of the table, who's qualifying for playoffs. Of course, we found out last week, unfortunately, we had our first casualty. Dogsy, unfortunately, not going to be joining us in playoffs for this season. But Dave still in with the chance, and of course, over in the West Division, it's still all up in the air. It could go either way. But without further ado, let's take a look at the league table so we can sit and analyse all of that jazz and talk you through it. So, as you can see, at the top there, Aaron, who was previously 5-0 and had a pretty unassailable lead, now on 5-2 and joined on the 5-2 record by the now 5-game unbeaten Draco CELTIC CELEBIS, who got one over Aaron last week, winning in a 2-1 fashion. So that could go either way this week. If Aaron's unlucky enough to lose out this week, Draco could actually jump him into first place. So that could get very, very interesting. But I know Aaron will be looking to try and bounce back this week for sure. And then down there in third and fourth, you've got South Croydon Swords and Torstar Belgrade, both on the 4-3 record. And again, you know, that could go either way. They're both still in catching distance to catch either Aaron or Draco, but also still scarily close enough to that dreaded 5th place of Newcastle Thundurus, who can still catch Torstar Belgrade and South Croydon Swords, but they do need to win their game today against, well, we'll find out in a second who they're against. I won't spoil it for you, but we'll find out, I guess. As you can see there at the bottom, Dogsy Charlotte Kings on the 1-6 did get their first game win since week 1 last week against Torstar Belgrade, so they've got to take some pride in that. Dogsy can at least try and take some, you know, not inspiration, but take something from that at least, and can try and build on something and try and finish out the season strong. But yeah, still plenty to be decided there, but playoffs is all but decided. But so we will see if Newcastle can grab that final place, or is it going to go to one of South Croydon Swords or Torstar Belgrade? Anyways, over in the West Division, well, what more can you say really? Miami Heat on the 7-0 record, still on the 100% record, may I add. I feel like I say that every week, and it's because it's still all the more surprising every week as we go by. Lat is just absolutely killing it so far, doing really great. And if he wins today, if he wins his week 8 game, he is our West Division regular season champion. So Lat will be really looking to close that one out, and then he can put his focus entirely on trying to finish the season on 100% record, and on his focus on playoffs. Bula Boys, also like Draco, on a 5-game unbeaten streak. They have all but qualified for playoffs after their win last week against Long Island Goomys. Probably one of the closest games I've ever played, and one of the most funny. I'm definitely going to have PTSD from that little baby hippo forever. Thank you very much for that, Goomys. But no, really good stuff there, and now on the 5-2 record. And if the Bula Boys win today, then we have our first and second, well, we have our second place team locked in. If Lat also wins today as well, Lat, as we said, will lock in that regular season champion, and we'll have our top 2 in there locked in. As we go further down though, it's not as clean cut. You've got 3 teams down there at the bottom on a 2-5 record. It could go either way. California Bastions, the odd one out on the 3-4 record there. Obviously, Cali can still finish in that second spot if they're able to win today. But Candies, Goomys and Sceptiles, I mean, it's anyone's guess. It is so close there. The way it could work out is we could end up going down to our final week before those final 2 spots are decided, depending on where results go. So we will certainly see. But without further ado, let's take a look at this week's schedule. So, from the top there, we have got Draco CELTIC CELEBIS on that unbeaten streak versus Newcastle Thundurus. Newcastle needing that win today to give themselves the chance of still making playoffs. It is still in their grasp. They need that win, and they need, you know, well, as you can see, Torstar Belgrade versus South Croydon Swords, those 2 teams above them. One of them is obviously going to lose, one of them is going to win. So Dave needs this win. He's got to get the win here, no matter which way he gets it, 2-1, 2-0. He's got to try and break that unbeaten streak of Dracos. We've also got Shadow Kings versus Inglorious Surface, so Dogsy will be looking to try and build upon that game win last week and try and play spoiler and get a match win this week, and consign Aaron to a 3rd straight defeat. Or is Aaron about to bounce back? that could go either way. Aaron obviously has won he won the previous count earlier in the season, so it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. And over in the West Division, we've got 200Candies versus Long Island Goomys. So two of our teams risking for a biscuit. Both down there, could potentially still make close, could still end up in that drop zone. That's really big though for those 5-on-2 spots. Both playing each other. Both going to be trying everything to get that win, so I expect a really close game. Next up, we have got the Bully Boys versus California Bastions. As I attested to earlier, Bully Boys, if they do get the win there, will lock in second place, and playoffs is then definitely confirmed at that point. Almost California Bastions also needing the win. If they're able to get the win here, it's also going to be able to confirm them for playoffs. So Oma got a lot on the line, a lot to play for. And finally, our final game of the week in the West Division is Latvians Miami Heat taking on Jabba's Slivering Septiles. Jabba, unfortunately, on a 5-game losing streak right now. So can he end it against Lats Miami Heat? Can he play spoiler? I keep feeling like I'm saying that phrase a lot, but can he play spoiler here and try and get that win, end that rotten streak, and stop Lat from winning the regular season championship? Anyway, on to our first game then. It is CELTIC CELEBIS taking on the Newcastle Thundurus. So last time these two teams faced off against each other, it was a 2-1 game. It was pretty close stuff. I want to say that was either the start or the second win in Draco's little unbeaten streak. So, there's a lot's happened since then. And these two teams have went, both different ends of the table. But last time out, it was a very different CELTIC CELEBIS team that Newcastle Thundurus played. As you can see there, that Tyranitar and the and the Reggie Draco both sitting proud. Both have been playing super well. That Tita proving one of the keys to victory over Aaron last week, and Reggie Draco as well has been holding its own. And alongside Lele, it feels like Lele has been giving a new life. That thing was so solid for Draco as it was anyway, but it just, alongside that, it's been super strong. Dragovich with Sandrush next to Tita as well. You don't need to say too much more about it. It's so good. And we saw the debut of Machamp for CELTIC CELEBIS last week, and we know from last season with the way Lat was able to use it, that thing with the no guard ability can be really, really good. Whether Draco chooses to use it as in its Gmax form to get that Gmax ability, we will certainly see. But will be interesting to see as well if Driflin comes out, with that Unburden ability, can run that with Tapu Lele with the Psychic Seed, and get that Unburden ability procced. Over on the side of Newcastle, got a huge win last week over Crizzle's South Croydon Saws. Dave putting on an absolute Intim sort of rotation masterclass with Lando T and Insin, working super well in his favour, and the Alolan Ninetales and the Reggie Lake as well proving to be a really strong duo for Dave. So I think it's very likely we see that sort of trio of Pokemon. Venusaur as well could be super strong here, get the Chlorophyll procced, and Venusaur with its Gmax moves as well, getting those chip damage away could be really big in this game. Get that speed control as well with that Chlorophyll. Or there's obviously the other way around. We saw Dustmore in that Week 6 game against Tolstar Belgrade. It didn't quite work out the way he wanted to, but it did get that Trick Room up. And Copperajah under Trick Room can be super super strong. So be interested to see if he can go down that route. And of course with Dave, you can never write off Lantern. Lantern is like his little pet dog, his little lap dog. As I said, you can never write this thing off. It could come, it might not. We never know. It's been so good for him though. So we laugh about it, but it is a super strong Pokemon, and Dave just seems to be able to get absolutely everything out of it. So full credit to Dave. But without further ado, let's go to our first game of week number 8. CELTIC CELEBIS versus Newcastle Thundurus, and let's get straight into it. It is Tapu Lele and the Drifloon leading the line for Draco, and it is Ninetales and the Lando T leading the line for Dave. So the Intim and the Drought Procs gets that attack drop on Drifloon, but there's the Psychic Seed from the Psychic Terrain proccing for Drifloon, as Copperajah does swap in and use its own Psychic Seed. There's the Tailwind from the Drifloon and Psychic onto the Lando T. Takes about below half the damage, and U-turn, it swaps out there, and in comes the Intim again. Not going to affect Lele too much as it being a special attacker, but just getting that attack drops on the Drifloon would be really good. Fake out under the Psychic Terrain though. Dave makes that mistake once again, and Lele gets a Moonblast off. In comes the Max Darkness. That is going to take out the Lele though, so Copperajah gets the kill, and it is first blood to Dave. Great start for Dave, he needed that for sure. And Tita now swaps in, gets that Sandstorm up, but Lando T swaps back in to get that attack drop on, so good stuff there. The Will-O-Wisp coming out from the Drifloon, getting that burn damage onto the Copperajah. That's who with the Rockfall though. The Rockfall does take out Lando T, and the Steel Spike into the Tita. That's not going to do enough after that burn, and it does proc the Policy on the Tita, so that's really big and really bad news for Dave, as in comes the Insin. with another Intim there and drops Tita back to neutral attack. But there is the strength staff from the Drifblim, starts dropping the Copperage's attack even more. Rockfall comes out and that takes out the Instant as well, and Tita is on an absolute tear. Copperage getting those steel spikes up just to get that defense buff up, so good stuff from Dave there, you know, identifying that Tita is going to hit really hard with that high attack stat. And in comes Ninetales now with the drought, so it does reset that weather and stops the high special defense coming out. The solar beam doesn't quite do enough to Tita, and the Rockfall, and Ninetales is going to take it down and Sash, but it's not going to matter because that Sandstorm is going to take the Ninetales out, and the high horsepower is not going to do enough to Tita. And now Copperage is left all on its own up against Drifblim and Tita. That Tita's come in and just absolutely wrecked house, and strength up again from the Drifblim, just getting its HP back up and dropping that attack even further. Copperage, Tita finally goes down against that Copperage. What is Draco's final one? It is, of course, the Dracovish. While that Sandstorm's up, acrobatics into the Copperage. It's not doing much, but there's the Vicious Wren to take it down to 1% HP. That the Bairn is going to take it out. Brutal Swing, not really doing too much of those mons. And the Bairn does take it out. It was the Sandstorm, damn sorry. And that is first game to Dracos. It starts so well for Dave there, but once Tita came in, it was just so difficult to stop. And he leads with the same line as last time. Oh, hang on a minute. I might have made a little bit of a mistake in the edit here. We're about to see a refresh of the footage here. The particle effects weren't loading in again. But it is the same lineup. Wait. There we go. It is the same lineup. I try a third time round. There's the same lineup for David, is the Ninetales and the Lando T, and it is the same lineup for Draco, as well as Lele and Drifblim swap in Tim procs as always, and the Psychic Seed procs for Drifblim. Tailwind goes off once again. There is the Moonblast into the Lando T, so no switch out this time. The Heat Wave into Lele and Drifblim, not doing quite enough, and there's the U-turn on the Drifblim, getting a little bit of chip damage away there, and Intim now pops in to get another Intim off as well. Drifblim swaps out, and in comes the Tita, resets that weather. There's the Moonblast into the Instant, that's not doing too much, and drops the special attack. There's the Heat Wave, but now the sun is gone, the sand is out, and that's not doing much. Parting Shot is going to drop that Lele's special attack and gets Lando T in. That Intim rotation play coming out from Dave again, trying to drop the Tita stats, and there is the Intim as well from the Instant as that swaps itself in. Moonblast into the Lando T, that's not doing quite enough. Max Hailstorm, that is going to take the Lando T out, and that now sets up the Hail, so the special defense buff that he was getting from Sand has gone, and now in comes the Ninetales, reset the weather again. 3 different weathers in one turn. As Instant goes for its D-Max Moonblast into the Instant, it's not going to matter too much. For Scorching Sands from the Ninetales, not quite doing enough, and it does proc that policy, so Tita back to neutral attack. And Rockfall is going to take out the Instant, so Instant not even getting a turn of its Dynamax, and it is now all up to Ninetales and Regieleki. So Regieleki gets a Thunder Wave off of the Tita, so that's good stuff. Scorching Sands not quite doing enough, and the Para, is it going to prop Moonblast to get a crit? Takes out Lecky. Rockfall onto the Ninetales, and that takes it out. Draco takes game number 2. It is 2-0. Draco now definitely qualified for playoffs, and that is it. Newcastle Thundurus' playoff dream is all but over. I say all but over. It is over. So that's both our teams that, in that bottom spot now out of the running for playoffs, and we have our 4 teams in the East Division for the playoffs. So that is going to be Inglorious Surfers, CELTIC CELEBIS, South Croydon Saws, and Toadstar Belgrade. So commiserations to Dave. That game 2 just didn't go the way he wanted it to, I don't think. The Intim swaps are going really, really well. Playing that rotation super good, but just not able to work around that T-time. Super props to Draco, he's got that T-tar set up so well that, with Lele and Dracovic just sort of there as a problem, and, with Drifblim into the mix as well with that unbed, and it's just so hard to stop. Drifblim can just sit there and strength sap you to death, and if it can get Tailwind up as well, or Will-O-Wisp, it's such a problem Pokemon, and Draco played that so well. So GG's to both coaches. That was a really fun game to watch and play. And I said, commiserations to Dave. We lose out another player from playoffs. But on to our next game, then it is the Shadow Kings taking on Inglorious Surfers. And last time these two played, earlier on this season, it was a 2-0 to Aaron. It was a very close 2-0, might I add. That game 1 was something spectacular from the Salamence on Shadow Kings' side. Nearly 1v4'd the game if it wasn't for the sand being set up by the Salamence. Dogsy very well might have taken that game 1. So I'm expecting another close encounter from these two. It's always a fun game when these two play. As you can see from the head-to-head record, these guys have played a total of 4 times. Aaron has taken 3 out of 4 of those games. Dogsy taken, of course, that match in last season's playoffs. But Dogsy, as I said earlier on, did get that first game win since week 1, so, you know, you can take that sort of a little bit of momentum into this game, I'm sure, and try and get something going. We've seen him run that Lipard and Slowbro Galar, that something was so strong for Latvia in Season 1. Dogsy trying to make it his own, and it's proved to, you know, sort of successful. You know, he was able to run the Slowbro Galar as a physical attacker last week against Torstal Belgrade, and then had the Spectre as well, dropping stats with the Snarl and the Will-O-Wisp as well, and almost just not quite being able to do enough. Of course, it's got that in DD for the Psychic Terrain, and the Follow Me, the Indirect. And Comfey as well. We've seen Comfey a few times. Not only just sort of can sit there as a good support mon, you know, get the floral healing off. It's got access to ally switch Trick Room, but, you know, also can, with its Training Kiss, because its triage ability, it can sit there and get a proc on a weakness policy proc on Salamence if it wants to. We saw that a few times earlier in the season. And of course, Gmax Blastoise there as well. Not really seen Dogsy employ the Gmax version of Blastoise too much, but we know from the non-Gmax version how good Blastoise can be. You know, with that Water Spout, Ice Beam, Scald. You know, you stick an Assault Vest on that thing and it's just a tank. So definitely something for Aaron to watch out. And of course, over on Aaron's side, we've seen that Kingdra and Thundy lead so many times, but it's so strong. For the Inglorious surface, you know, you can't knock it all. Aaron's really put together a super strong team, and he's been playing it so well. As I said, the last 2 weeks had a little bit of a blip, so as I said, I'm sure he'll be looking to try and you know, try and bounce back from that and try and get a win here. You know, he's got the Galar Moltres in his arsenal there, and we've seen a little bit of Mamoswine as well. So now he has that Mamoswine. You know, you wouldn't expect Mamoswine to be a speedy Pokemon, but god damn it is. And of course, Registeel as well. Registeel is something you've got to really keep an eye on. You know, if you let that thing set up on you, then God forbid. That's all I can say. God forbid. Has Mienshao there as well, you know, got access to Fake Out, Coaching, Close Combat, Wide Guard, and of course Gardevoir as well, something he picked up during mid-season, can set up Trick Room, has got access to Imprison, and it's just an all-round solid Pokemon. Has the 2 tier 5s there as well, in Fletchinder and Dratloak. You know, Dratloak's got access to Break and Swipe, and the Fletchinder, of course, with its Gale Wings, can set up Speed, Tailwind with the Speed, so Aaron's got himself a pretty well-rounded team. Be interested to see what he brings this week, you know, whether the Kingdra comes out or whether Dogsy will be set up to face that. But, anyways, let's get right into this one. Shadow Kings versus Inglorious Surfers, number 2 this season. Let's go. And it is Salamence and the Comfey leading line for Dogsy, and it is Gardevoir and the Mamoswine for the Inglorious Surfers. So no Kingdra and Thundy even in the lineup, as Mamoswine does go for its Dynamax. The Protect comes out from the Salamence. It is Intimidate Salamence as well. Max Hailstorm comes out. That takes Salamence down to half the HP even through the Protect, but does proc that Weakness Policy on the Salamence, and Trick Room does go up for Comfey. So good start there for Dogsy. He's now got that speed control, and Salamence go for its Dynamax. The Mamoswine does Max Guard, Floral Healing comes out, and the Max Guard stops that Max Guards it, and the Gardevoir is going to reverse that Trick Room. So Mamoswine has that speed control again, as Salamence is going to swap out, so stops that Dynamax going. Floral Healing does fail from the Comfey. Max Hailstorm into the Blastoise. That was a good switch in from Dogsy, and that Hailstorm not doing too much, as the Imprison comes out from Gardevoir, so that's something to keep an eye on. Floral Healing comes out from the Comfey. There's the Iron Head into the Comfey. That's going to proc a Citrus Berry and keep it around for a little bit longer. Moonblast into the Blastoise, trying to drop the special attack, and the Water Spout doesn't quite take out the Mamoswine, but it does proc that Weakness Policy and Hail, not doing any damage to Mamoswine, but doing damage to everything else. Floral Healing does put the Blastoise back up to full health, and Comfey is going to get taken out by that Iron Head. That Moonblast doing a big amount of damage, and there is the Water Spout. It's going to take out the Mamoswine, but the Gardevoir just about hanging on as Dracload now swaps in, and there's a Salamence to get the Intim off as well. Protect comes out from that Salamence, just stopping that, you know, Gardevoir from Moonblasting it in the face. Moonblast comes into the Blastoise, it just about hangs on that. There's the Scald into the Dracloak, and Curse Body is going to stop the Scald from going off, and then there's a Break and try to drop that attack on the Salamence. Moonblast into Salamence, that is unfortunately going to take it out, so it is now a 2v3. Ice Beam into the Dracloak, that doesn't quite do enough, and Ditto comes in, but Nightmare, because the Imprison is out, and now that means the Gardevoir's got the exact same moves. Well, the Ditto has got the exact same moves as that Gardevoir. Moonblast is going to take Blastoise out, and now all the Ditto can do is struggle. It's also burned as well. There's a Moonblast into it. It's not going to matter, and this is going to be game number 1. Struggle's just not me doing enough, and the burn is going to take it out, and game number 1 goes Aaron's way. So great start there from Aaron. That is exactly what he wanted. And he starts out this time with the Gardevoir and the Galar Moltres, and Dogsy goes for the Lipard and the Slowbro Galar. So will he be looking to Max Guard and, you know, copycat straight off the bat, or is he going to try something else? The Fake Out though from the Lipard stops that Gardevoir from getting the Imprisoned off, so that's good stuff. Max Airstream is going to take Lipard down to its Sash. from that Galamoltres and give him that speed control, but it does mean he can do the strat next turn. And the Max Ooze, Gardevoir just about hanging out from that, but does get the special attack boost on Slowbro. Lipard swaps out and in comes Blastoise. There's the Max Ooze again, that quick draw coming in really handy and does take out that Gardevoir and gives another special attack boost. And in comes the Max Darkness into Slowbro, and Slowbro just about hangs on from that, gets a special defense drop for his troubles. But Slowbro just about keeping himself alive. Lipard now swaps back in for the Blastoise. Max Guard comes out, and the Slowbro stops that fake out from taking it out. And Max Darkness is going to get rid of the Lipard, so it's now a 3v3. And that Dynamax for the Moltres and the Slowbro is going to end. And Blastoise now comes back in. Quick Draw procs it again for that Slowbro. Helping Hand comes out from the Mienshao. There's the fake out into the Moltres. The expanding force just absolutely slaps Mienshao. And of course, the fake out gets the flinch on the Moltres. It is now 2v3. Fiery Wrath, though, is going to take out the Slowbro. And now, what's he got in his locker here? Will-O-Wisp comes out from the Drought Log. Water Spout from the Blastoise that takes Moltres down to Berserk level, and the Chaos Body is going to stop the Blastoise from using the Berserk, the Water Spout again, as Ditto now swaps in and gets that special attack and Speed Boost. Fire Wrath is going to take out the Drought Log, and Galamoltres just about hanging on. There's the Fire Wrath from Aaron's Moltres. That takes out Blastoise. It is now Mono Moltres versus Moltres, and the Ditto gets the kill. Great use of Ditto there, and Dogsy ties us up at 1 apiece. We're going into a game 3 here. Can Dogsy give Aaron a third loss in a row, or is Aaron going to get back to winning ways? Goes for the same lineup as game number 1. Does Aaron and Slowbro Lipard come out again once again from Dogsy? The Mamoswine goes for D-Max. There's the fake out into Gardevoir as you would expect, and then Max Ooze from the Slowbro. It does take out the Gardevoir this time, so must have been a roll the first time. There's the Max Quake into the Lipard, gets it down to its sash, and that is going to give the special defense boost to the Mamoswine. That's very useful. The Helping Hand comes out from the Mienshao, and the Max Quake into the Slowbro takes it out in one hit, and now that special defense buff is super strong as Ditto now swaps in, copies that stats, but swaps it straight off of Blastoise, sees that the close combat is coming, so great prediction play from Dogsy there, and keeps Blastoise in the game as well, down to about 30% HP after that Steel Spike and the close combat. There's the Burning Jealousy, that's going to get the burn on both Mienshao and the Mamoswine, but it is going to proc that policy on the Mamoswine though, so that's something to be watchful of, as now Mamoswine's Dynamax is going to end. Ditto now swaps back in, and brilliant, that's going to copy all of those stats from Aaron's Mamoswine. Close combat though, that's taking the Mamoswine down to the Ditto, down to 1/2 HP, and Iron Head gets blocked by that Protect from the Lipard. So who's going to go first here? The Iron Head into the Mienshao, that's not quite taking it out, and the close combat is going to take out the Ditto, and now Dogsy has it all to do. You've got a 1% Lipard, make that a dead Lipard. It is now a 1v3. Aaron is going to take this 2-1. Blastoise is going to go down to that close combat. Super close games there from both guys. What a game. That game 2 was absolutely sensational, and Dogsy very lucky in the end there not to get that third game. Something to note in that game, and very big props to both players here. So the Dogsy's Slowbro did have the Sugar Berry on. For some reason, that Max Quake, when it went into it, it didn't proc the Sugar Berry. We still don't know what happened. We've tried reviewing it. We're still not sure. But, I mean, both players played their absolute heart out there. You can't say it fairer than that. You know, Aaron played super well that game 3 and the game 1 as well. You know, that Mamoswine and Gardevoir lead proving super strong. And it was a little bit comical to watch back the Ditto just having to struggle in game number 1. So, really good use of Imprison there. And Dogsy getting another game win. So, you know, the wheels are starting to turn for Dogsy. It might be a little bit too late, a little bit too little too late. But GG's to both players. Played a super good game there. As we're going to move on to our final game of the week for the East Division. And it is Toadstar Belgrade taking on the South Croydon Saws. So last time these two guys played, it was all the way back in week number 1. Of course, both these guys on the 4-3 record, aiming to try and catch Aaron and Draco, who are just, you know, seemingly unstoppable at the moment, especially Draco, who just keeps on winning. Obviously, Weo, since the mid-season break, he picked up the Gigas Weezing duo. It has been very difficult to stop. It just went absolutely wrecked house against Newcastle Thundurus in week 6, and you know, we didn't really see it too much against Dogsy the week after, but it still did work in that game number 3. So something to keep an eye on. Of course, that G-Max Lapras we know from last season, and of course now, just how good that thing can be once it gets a resonance up, and if you can proc a policy on it, it can be super strong. You know, we've seen him use Discharge with the Zapdos to get that going. Obstagoon as well, which we saw in the Bully Boys earlier on the season. Obstagoon, you know, with its Defiant ability, can be very difficult to stop. With that 4 times weakness to fighting, it can be a little bit risky to use it, but, you know, all the same, it is a strong Pokemon. And of course, Total Belgrade's kill leader Drapion as well. Keep an eye out for that one with the sniper ability. If it's got a there's a scope lens on it, that thing can really do work with those critical hits. He's got the Togetic there for the follow me, you know, on his team as well, and Serena as well to block those priority moves. And of course, the quote-unquote Dogsy Killer and Mr. Mime Galar as well, so keep an eye out for that as well. Be interested to see what Toadstar employs in this, but I would very much expect the Gigas and Weezing. And over on Krizzle's side, you know, where do you start? It's a bit like last team. It's a super versatile team. Kriz has been able to really work this team super well. Porygon Z has been able to really put in the work. And out of all things as well, who expected Sneasel to be up there on the kill leaderboard? That Sneasel, considering it as a Prevo, has just really been putting in the work. Super strong Pokemon. Of course, has options with the Sneasel as well to get the beat up on the Cobalion as well, proc that Justified, and got those attack stats going. Has Tornadus as well, previous on the Bully Boards, can get access to Tailwind. It's got Taunt on there as well, and can even proc the Own Tempo on the Mudsdale as well with the Swaggy. You know, Mudsdale not going to get confused by that, and just going to get the attack buff. And of course, need I say any more about Rillaboom? That thing is just, Big Monkey is a beast. So it'd be very interesting to see what Kriz uses here. I think he's going to be trying to stop that Gigas Weezing from wrecking house here, but without further ado, I'm not going to play any spoilers. Let's just get right into it. Our game number 3 of the East Division this week, Toadstar Belgrade versus South Croydon Soz, and there you can see the Volcarona, Porygon Z, Rillaboom, Cobalion, Dracozolt, and the Sneasel for South Croydon Soz, and it is the Gigas and Weezing that lead the line for Weos, Toadstar Belgrade, and you can see Lapras, Mr. Mime, Galar, Drapion, and Obstagoon in the back for Mr. Hop. So Cobalion and Sneasel leading the line for the South Croydon Soz. You would expect, you know, a bit later on he could use that beat up play. Obviously at the moment while that Weezing's kicking around, he can't do anything like that. They've got to, you know, focus in that Weezing first and foremost. You know, I think Wheels are always going to be maybe trying to protect this time. You know, the Weezing's not going to enjoy taking a max steel spike from the Cobalion. But if the Sneasel is running Feint, then we're always going to have to keep an eye on that. You know, the Feint's going to break that protected Cobalion. Is going to just wreck house, and that Weezing's going to be fully at its beck and call as the D-Max comes out from both Gigas and Cobalion. Feint into the Weezing. It didn't protect, and the Babiri Berry stops that steel spike from getting too much damage. It does get the defense buff on the Cobalion. There's the Max Quake onto the Cobalion. Gets the special defense buff and doing a little bit of damage. But the Will-O-Wisp misses on the Cobalion. That's an absolute nightmare start for Weo. Trying to drop that attack at that Cobalion as well, just to keep the Weezing around for a little bit longer. And now he does know that Kriz has Feint on that Sneasel, so something to keep an eye out for Weo as well. He's got to try and play around that. Very, very difficult to stop. You know, if Feint doesn't work out, like Fake Out or anything like that, you can keep using it to break those protection. So it's going to be just about damage limitation now. Try and keep it alive as long as possible and try and get enough damage on that Cobalion with the Gigas, so Gigas can wreck house later in the game. Or just Cobalion just keep going. There's the triple axle into Weezing Galar, so good prediction there. The Protect is going to stop the Weezing Galar from going down. Gets the defense buff though on the Cobalion. There's the Quake again, taking the Cobalion down to 34% HP, and Gigas still sat at 100% HP, so Krizzle just trying to whittle it down so that he can, once that slow start procs on that Gigas, you know, he's got Cobalion sat in a comfortable position, and if nothing else, the Mons in the back can take care of it. Weezing still kicking around as we sit, move on to time number 3. Special defense buff not really proving. The Max Guard comes out from the Cobalion, and there's a Protect, the double Protect from the Weezing Galar. Stop that triple axe from going off. The Max Quake is going to get blocked by the Protect, and those Dynamaxes are going to end now. So this is where it could get interesting. Obviously, we cannot go for a triple Protect here. You're really playing with fire if you're trying that, but he definitely runs the risk of Weezing going down here. I don't think there's really a way he can stop it without maybe sacrificing, you know, the Gigas. You know, he can maybe switch Gigas out or do a double swap out just to keep the Weezing Galar alive here, but I don't really know what that you know gives him. I mean, I know he's got the special defense buff for damage soon, but there's a triple axle from the Sneasel, and it is going to take out the Weezing Galar. The slow start procs, so that that attack and the speed dropped on that Gigas, and the Sacred Sword into the Gigas that does so much damage, and the Super Power. Oh, but the Cobalion lives through the Super Power, that 2 times defense, enabling it to stay alive. 2% HP the Cobalion lives, and that's great news for Krizzle as 1-1 down for Mr. Hop, and it is now 4v3. So, you know, not so much mind games, but just the slow whittling down of that Weezing over the course of 4 turns. And now Gigas is in a great spot for Chris, but not such a great spot for Weo, you know, as that slow start, attack and defense is dropped after that suit power as well. And is really the beck and call of Cavalier now as Obstagoon now swaps in that up the tune for Weo. What can he do on it here? I would have thought it is going to be Defiant Obstagoon, so you know any sort of stat drops that come his way are going to be negated. By getting an attack boost. What a great start here from Chris, you know, he's just played it patient. Must have been absolutely over the moon when the Cavalier lived. That's superpower for sure. Both coaches now just working out what their next play is. Sneasel, through all this Sneasel by the way, is still sat on 100% HP, might add. The amount of times that I look up and this damn Sneasel is just still sat there with its arms folded like, yeah, what of it? It's like, oi, what you want? It just doesn't care. And that thing is so fast as well, so we are going to keep an eye on the Protect. Comes out from the Cavalier and the Obstruct as well from the Obstagoon. There's the Brick Break into the Gigas. Gigas goes down, it's now a 2v4 as Drabion now swaps in. This is Weo's last stand for this final game. Can he at least take care of the Cavalier and maybe get something going in the late game? Or is this going to be it? Is Chris going to be able to just win with the Cavalier and the Sneasel duo that he started off with? Been a great game so far though, but that's the first time that anyone, well, after 2-3 games after the mid-season break, that anyone's really been able to topple the Gigas. And I'm sure we all knows now that the Gigas has definitely got a target on his back up to getting 9 kills in 2 games. Definitely something to keep an eye out for. Cavalier and Sneasel are going to both have speed over the Obstagoon and Drapion here, so one Sacred Sword into that Obstagoon, I think it's going to really hurt unless Weo is running the Chottle Berry on it, and even then, does it live through that? You know, the amount of times in this league that we've seen, you know, a Mon have a berry on it and it still die through the attack anyway, is actually unbelievable. You know, it's almost like the berries don't do anything. They do. It's just 4 times effective moves are a bit difficult to stop. There's the Brick Break on the Obstagoon, just brought that Chopple Berry, so down to half HP. There's the Iron Head into the Drapion, trying to get that flinch, and the Life Orb is going to take out the Cavalier, but there is the close combat, and the, was that a cross chop or throat chop? Something on the Sneasel, so it is now a 2v2. Obstagoon and Drapion doing the work there, and taking the both ones down, as in comes Volcarona and Porygon Z. Again, I'm pretty sure Porygon Z is faster than both Drapion and Obstagoon, so that defense and special defense drop on Obstagoon as well could definitely be a problem here. The close combat, you know, I think he had to go for it just to make sure he got damage done there. You know, a little bit of a spot now. See Porygon Z not going to be able to Dynamax. That is pretty much what you see from Pre. You see the Porygon Z go for Dynamax, get those stat boosts off and the speeds dropped on the other team, and the ones in the back just clean up house. But using Sneasel and Cavalier perfectly without the use of beat up, might I add as well. So really good stuff from Chris there. Props to the guy. And it's still a pretty close game. You know, it's 2v2. There's still every chance this could go either way. But Weo now has got some pretty useful information. Knows that Sneasel has Feint. Knows that's the sort of the move that Chris is trying to go for, get that Weezing down. On the other hand as well, Chris now knows that is the very Weezing to lot. Obstruct comes out from the Obstagoon. Protect comes out from the Porygon Z as well. There is the cross poison into the Volcarona. Gets the crit, but doesn't quite kill. And there's the burn as well. And Flame Body and String Shot from the Volcarona is going to drop the speed on both Drapion and Obstagoon, but it is going to proc that Defiant on the Obstagoon. But is that going to matter? It's still going to have its speed drop, and that means it's going to go, well, both Drapion and Obstagoon are going to go dead last after the PZ and the Volcarona. So really great stuff from Chris there. Good move choice. Make sure he does have speed control in this end game. That Flame Body as well, proccing, super useful against that Drapion, dropping its attack stat. 1 into 10, number 8. There's the struggle book that is going to take out the Obstagoonus, drop the special attack on the Dropion as well. The Thunderbolt from the Porygon-Z takes it out, and Chris takes game number 1 over Toadstar Belgrade. What a game 1 as we move on into game number 2. Are we going to see the same lineup from both teams? And we are, as Gigas and the Weezing, and it's Cobalion and Sneasel on the side of Chris as well. So both players know exactly what's coming now. It's whether Weo can stop it this time, and it's whether Chris can stop the Gigas and Weezing. You know, I think they've been counting his lucky stars with that Will-O-Wisp missed early on, but the Gigas and Cobalion obviously both go for the Dynamax. There's the feint into the Weezing Galar, expecting that out, and it works out the same as time 1 in game 1. Max Steelswag goes in, gets the defense buff, and the Max Knuckle this time from the Gigas, so getting that attack buff up rather than the special defense. And the Will-O-Wisp comes out, but it misses again! The Will-O-Wisp misses again for Weo. Oh, that is unbelievably bad luck. So no Will-O-Wisp this time, and now he knows he can't go for that again. You know, the Weezing is too slow to try and go for it. And I think Chris is just free to try and go for that feint again now. So he is definitely in a spot, knows that he can't protect against that Sneasel, and the Cobalion being the second fastest thing after that Sneasel. You know, feint is a priority move regardless, but Cobalion is just going to smack it with a Steel Spike, and that Gigas is in a world of trouble. Even if he goes for a Max Knuckle, Protect comes out. There's the feint from the Sneasel, breaks the protection, does about 600 damage. There's a Steel Spike, and it takes Weezing out, and there it is. Slow start procs, drops the speed, drops the attack. Quake into the Cobalion, that still does pretty good damage, but not quite enough to get the special defense up. But I don't think that's really going to matter too much here. And the 1.5 times attack is probably going to just put Gigas back at sort of like close to neutral range, as in comes Drapion now this time. But that Gigas is in a world of trouble now. Can the Drapion do some work here? It's going to be slower than both Cobalion and Sneasel, so if Cobalion has got access to a Quake, that Drapion is not going to enjoy taking that. It is not going to eat that up for breakfast. It's really going to pee in its cornflakes for sure. And Sneasel once again just sat there next to its big, you know, sword of justice, just arms folded, just like, yeah, you know, just chilling. It sits there for turns on end because everyone's focusing the Cobalion. It's just like, yeah, you know, I know. I love it. I love Sneasel. I love that whole, you know, Levi as well. But it's not all over for Weo. You know, he might be in 1 down, but it's not over until the fat lady sings, as we always say. The beat up though comes out from the Sneasel this time, and he's sure for sure going to target into that Gigas. Gets that justified proc, and that's 3 times attack. 3 times attack for Cobalion. There's the Rockfall into the Drapion. That's going to take it out and gets the Sand up as well. Gets the special defense buff from that. There's the Max Knuckle from the Gigas. Going to do a little bit of damage, and that's going to put Gigas back to neutral attack now, as both Dynamaxes are going to end. There's now a 2v4 for Weo. What has he got in the back? It is the Lapras in the back, so no Obstagoon this time. Gigas is going to be moving, probably dead last. And you know, I think Crizzle is just free to focus it down here with Cobalion, and you know, you can't really touch it. Once that beat up went off, it's going to be pretty difficult to come back from this. But you know, we won't say game over just yet. Anything could happen in the British Pokemon League for sure. I do wonder what Crizzle has in the back. Last time round we saw Porygon-Z and Volcarona, whether he's chosen to switch it up a bit. Maybe the Dracozolt and the Rillaboom comes, or you know, something to deal with, you know, the Lapras if Crizzle's expected. There's the Brick Break into the Gigas. Sacred Sword into the Gigas. Gigas now goes down. It is now 1v4. Lapras with it all to do. Sparkling Aria comes out, and that is going to take Cobalion out. So no Cobalion for Chris, but that Lapras has got it all to do. And if it is Rillaboom and Dracozolt in the back for Chris, then that Lapras is in a world of trouble. It is not going to enjoy taking either a Bulk Beak or a, you know, a Grassy Glide from the Rillaboom. And Sneasel still sticking around then. And Drekazol does swap in. There's the ball beacon. The Lapras takes it out, and Chris takes game number 2. Chris finally defeats the monster that is Reggie Gigas and hands Weo his first loss since week 5. And Chris keeps marching on. Moves himself up into that 3rd spot for sure. Has that game over Weo now. And Weo down there in 4th place. But GG's to both guys. That was a really fun game to watch. And so it was just really interesting to just see, you know, Chris slowly chip away at that wheezing in the first game. And then the second game, it was just sort of, it fell apart. But I think Weo must be really just cursing his luck again. You know, the Will-O-Wisp missing in the first game, you're like, okay, you know, fair enough. It happens. But then missing 2 games in a row. Oh man, you got to feel for him, but I said GG's to both players. Played a really good game there, and I said Chris keeps rolling on. Great stuff from both players. Now on over to the West Division then, as we have got a relegation sort of dogfight here, I suppose you could sort of call it, in Candies versus Long Island Goomys. Last time these two played, like the last match we watched, these two last played in week 1, and Goomys did get the 2-1 victory over Candies. Both these guys on the 2-5 record. Goomys only with the 1 win since that week 1 victory. Meanwhile, Candies has, he succeeded over Oma both times for those 2 wins, but has not really been able to find any sort of regular form. But this could be a really big game for both players. Last week, I hate to bring myself my own flashbacks, but last week we saw Hippo and Excadrill really put in work along with Dynamax Flapple as well. Flapple with Hustle, you know, really super strong for Silly's Goomys, and very nearly won him the game in that one. You know, if it wasn't for Hustle making those Grav Apples miss, then I think it would have went very differently. Of course, Clef as well with that Follow Me, and Friend Guard as well can be really strong. Not really seen too much of the Airshrew Dark apart from against Latvian in week 6, but something to look out for. And of course as well that Milotic as well, not really seen any of it yet, to be honest, but surely something that Silly could look to use. Keep an eye out for Galar Zapdos as well. Galar Zapdos with that Defiant ability, you know, if Candies does bring in that Torracat, he does risk proccing that, so it does have to be careful. Over on Candy's side then, we've seen the destructive power of that Dragapult. We saw it last season, we've seen it this season. Candies have been able to use that super strong in the late game, you know, whittles down his opponents with the Sleeps and the Intims and the Will-O-Wisp, and just brings that Dragapult in and just cleans up the sloppy seconds. Keeping an eye for Porygon 2 as well. We've seen Porygon 2 mostly as a support this season, not like a special attack like we saw on Bulu Boys last season. But, you know, keep an eye out for this thing. It is really defensively strong, and Candies knows very much how to use it. Terrakion as well does have that option for the beat up to Justified like in that last game. So really something, you know, a strong option for Candies. And of course has the sleep and fake out duo of the Butterfree and the Jinx that we've seen so many times from Candies. And you know, you see it so many times because it is so effective. You know, you're forcing your opponent to have to try and play around it. They've either got to run a Lumberry or Safety Goggles or Safeguard or something to stop that from going off. And of course Torracat there with the Intim as well. Torracat can be a super strong Pokemon in its own right, even though it is the Prevo. But anyways, I'm going to stop waffling. Let's go into our first game of the West Division. It is Long Island Goomys taking on 200Candies. And the Goomys are going to lead off with the Fletchling and the Flapple. Forgot to mention the Fletchling in that preview. Fletchling obviously has that Gale Wings, can get Tailwind off. And it's Snorlax and Butterfree from Candies. Butterfree goes out there. Butterfree takes that dual wing beat. That goes down to 9% HP, and Snorlax just about hanging on from that max Wormwind. Not able to get that belly drum off because of the HP drop. Attack dropped as well from Snorlax. The dual wing beat, is this going to take the Butterfree out this time from the Fletchling? Ice Punch not going to quite do enough from the Flapple thanks to that attack drop. And the max Airstream is going to give a speed boost to both Flapple and Fletchling, and the Snorlax is going to go down. So straight away is now a 2v4. Candies with it all to do, playing on the back foot as Porygon 2 is going to go for its Dynamax. The Protect comes out from the Airshrew, and there is the dual wing beat into Airshrew. Max Wormwind into the P2. That's not really going to do too much, but it is going to drop the attack on the Airshrew, so that's important to note. Max Strike though is going to take out the Flapple, and now Candies has 2 times the Dynamax with that P2 to do some work as people now swaps in to get the Sand Up. Sucker Punch into that Fletchling, not quite taking it out in the dual wing beat, not quite taking Airshrew out, but the Max Strike is going to take care of Fletchling and drop the speed on the Hippo. I don't think he's going to get too much about that, and the Yawn comes off from the Hippopotas, so that P2 is going to sleep next turn as the double Protect is going to come out from the Hippo, and the Excadrill swapping in Sucker Punch fails, of course, on the airstream, and Max Strike is still going to drop the speed because it breaks through that protect with the Dynamax move. But now the Porygon 2 is going to go to sleep, and now Candies has a non-Dynamax P2 asleep, and a half-dead airstream protect comes out from the edge. Said airstream, the Iron Head is going to get blocked by that, and there is the high horsepower into P2. Not really doing too much from the baby Hippo there, so no Fisher this week. And Iron Head, though, is going to take out Shifu. High horsepower doing a little bit more damage to P2. P2 still not waking up, still going for a lullaby. Iron Head, though, does take care of it, and Goomys do take this game number 1. So great start there from Silly, and gets the first game and advantage to Silly. So Torracat and Dragapult this time for Candies, and is the Hippo and the Excadrill this time gets the Sandstream up for Silly. Dragapult goes straight for his Dynamax. No late game Dragapult as we usually see from Candies, and the double protect comes out from the Hippo, and the Excadrill stops that fake out from going off. When window is going to hit into Hippo. The Hippo is not doing too much, but is going to drop the attack of both Excadrill and the Hippo. High horsepower comes out from the Excadrill, and that takes Torracat out, so Torracat just goes straight out of that. And Wormwind, the Hippo survives a Wormwind from the Dragapult. That's going to do a little bit more attack damage, and the high horsepower from the baby Hippo not doing a whole lot to that Dynamax Dragapult as Airstream now swaps in. The high horsepower, though, what is it with this league and high horsepower missing? High horsepower missing from that Excadrill, and Close Combat is going to take Excadrill down to its sash, and it is 3v3. Sandstorm doing slowly chipping away at Dragapult and the Edgeview as now Fletchling swaps in. Sucker Punch does take out that Excadrill, so it's now a 2v3. Tailwind does go from Fletcher with Dragon Dart, but Dragapult is going to leave it all up to Flapple with it all to do 1v3. I believe he does. I was going to say he does have the Dynamax available, so Butterfree swaps in. There's the Wormwind in the Butterfree, so no Sash this time from Butterfree, and that takes Butterfree out. Flapple taking out the Wicked Blow, though, getting that crit on Flapple, doing a great amount of damage. Wormwind is going to take out the Airstream, but that is going to mean the Dragon Bolt's going to be able to take out. He had to focus on one. Either the Wicked Blow is going to take him out, or the Dragon Bolt was going to take him out with Dragon Dart, and the Candies is going to just level us all up at one apiece. Of great stuff there from Candies. Put Silly in a position in the late game. I think the Hippo and the Fletchling being the other two options was a bit of a problem there for Silly, but there you go. The Torracat swaps in and is going to put the Defiant on that Galar Zapdos, and Fletchling now is going to go for that Tailwind. Drill Peck not quite taking out the Torracat, and the Max Airstream, though, is going to take out the Galar Zapdos. That was a nightmare start for Silly in this game number 3. And Torracat still hanging on 1% HP, and now Flapple swaps in. Flapple swaps straight back out, though, and in comes the Extra, expecting that Max Wormwind, and Butterfree swaps in for Candies. Gets the crit on the Excadrill. The Excadrill just about hanging on, but does get the attack drop for his troubles. And Will-O-Wisp from the Fletchling dropping that attack on that Dragon Bolt. So good stuff there from Silly, but the dual Wing Beat's going to miss, and the Max Phantasm is going to take out that Excadrill, and it is now a 2v4. And Fletchling with the safety goggles not going to go to sleep, but Fletchling now with the Flapple with it all to do. One more time and Tailwind. Flapple goes for his Dynamax. Dual Wing Beat, thanks to that attack drops, is not doing enough to the Butterfree. Fly comes out from the Dragon Ball. That means the Wormwind's going to miss. Sleep Powder goes off again against the Fletchling. That's not going to work out. Protect comes out from the Butterfree. Tailwind goes up from the Fletchling, still hanging on to that Fly. Just about hangs off from that, even with the defense drop. The Airstream, though, going to get that speed up now, even with the Tailwind, and the Butterfree goes down. Silly getting something going now. He's got the 2v3. Torracat now swaps back in. The Fake Out is going to take out Fletchling, so Flap with it all to do, but Wormwind is going to take it out. So this is it, is 1v2. Can Silly do it? The Flapball's Dynamax is going to end as Airstream now swaps in. Dual Wing Beat into the Airstream. Is it going to do enough? No, Airstream, thanks to that attack drop, Airstream hangs on, and Wicked Blow is going to take it out, and Candies takes game number 3, and Silly consigned to yet another defeat. Candies getting a really, really huge victory over Long Island Goomys, and that puts Candies in a great position now as we move on to the final 2 weeks of play. They're in a great spot. If they're able to win in next week's game, they're going to confirm themselves for playoffs, so GG's to both players. That was a really, really, really close game. You know, I mean, Silly was kind of put in a spot in that game 2, in that game 3. The game 2, I mean, he was still put in a spot in game 2 as well, but it was still super close. Could have went either way, that one. If it wasn't for Airstream and Dragon Bolt in the back, then who knows what could have happened there. But as I say, GG's to both players. That was a really, really fun one to watch, and Candies will be really happy with that victory. I know he was really needing it after that loss to Lat in the previous week. But on to our second game in the West Division. It is California Bastiodons. California Bastiodons versus the Bulu Boys. Last time these two teams played, it was week 5, and Bulu Boys got that 2-0 victory over the Bastiodons. That Mesprit coming in with the Dynamax and proving super useful, and of course the Blacephalon and the Colossal G-Max as well, putting in that work in game number 2. This time around, Beauty Boys have a completely different team, completely different lineup for Oma to face off against. Obviously, we have seen quite a bit of that Torkoal as well, you know, to set up the Sun, get the Chlorophyll going on the Venusaur. Venusaur not really been able to get anything going, I think, like Beauty Boys are maybe wanting to, but it's still being a strong Pokemon in its own right. But that Raichu, so far, has just featured every week since the mid-season break. You know, with that Lightning Rod ability, just, you know, if the Beauty Boys do, you know, decide to bring that Charizard and there's Electricmon on the field opposing it, then you do have that protection over it. Of course, Garchomp as well, the week 7 hero for the Beauty Boys. That thing is got such a strong attack stat. You know, if you let that thing go, it can be super hard to stop. And of course, with that Sand Veil ability as well, if Sandstorm goes up, then the accuracy is going to be dropped on that mon, and it can really get going. I think Oma needs to watch out for that Mesprit. That Mesprit has been something of a dark horse for Beauty Boys. You know, this thing I like to call Bargain Bin Mew, because it's very much that. It has same stats across the board, bar its HP and speed stat, which are both the same. You can run that thing as an attacker or a special attacker, so it can be difficult to stop. And of course, as well, Cradley as well, that Storm Drain, and a Alolan Ninetales as well is going to set up the hail and be able to get that Aurora Veil. And yeah, I mean, I would think you're very much going to see a Suncore on that Beauty Boys team. Facing off against that, like, so that Metagross, but be interesting to see what Oma brings to counter. Of course, Flash Fire on that Chandelure could be really good here if he's able to get a swap in or an ally switch going in the right spot. Going to hit that Flash Fire, and Chandelure's not going to take any damage. Also has the, you know, an option for Spore on that Amoonguss. You know, as if the Beauty Boys are unable to stop that Amoonguss, can just start putting Pokemon to sleep, and you know, Oma can really get something going. Hitmontop as well in the back. You know, that thing with the eject pack, you get that thing with Fake Out and Close Combat. You know, Close Combat can get itself out there and it can just keep rotating in Tims and Fake Outs as much as it wants. But we've typically been seeing the Metagross side with that Aerodactyl, that mid-season pickup. You know, not only does that thing, it's super fast, but it also has access to Tailwind, and it can get Bulldoze as well to proc that weakness policy on that Metagross and slow everything else down as well. We'll keep an eye out as well for the Sylveon. Might choose to bring it as a Garchomp counter. And of course, Water Rescue as well with that Surging Strikes. And of course, access to Aqua Jet as well. You know, that is his G-Max pick. We've seen it a couple of times. It is a very strong Pokemon. But anyways, let's go into our game number 2 of the West Division Beauty Boys versus California Bastiodons. And as you can see, that is Klefki, Mesprit, Charizard, Torkoal, Raichu, and Garchomp for Beauty Boys. And it's Chandelure, Amoonguss, Water Rescue, Aerodactyl, Hitmontop, and the Metagross. Of course, Metagross has come every single week for Oma, so it'd be a surprise not to see it. But it's Torkoal and Raichu that lead the line for the Beauty Boys, and it's Amoonguss and Chandelure that lead the line for Oma. So he's going to be looking to try, you know, take one of those, get one of those Flash Fires, and maybe get a Spore off with that Amoonguss. Of course, Raichu does have access to likes of Fake Out and can Volt Switch. You can sit and just rotate the Fake Outs itself with the Volt Switches and get some damage off as well. And that, you know, that Torkoal, if it's going to go first, Amoonguss is not going to enjoy eating an Eruption, but I would have thought Amoonguss is just going to slightly outspeed it. So I think Oma's going to be probably looking to try and put that Torkoal to sleep. The Torkoal goes for its Dynamax. I don't even expect that. The Fake Out goes into Amoonguss. An Ally Switch from the Chandelure. That's a great Ally Switch there, but Matt is able to read it and gets the Max Quake onto the Chandelure. Chandelure does lift that, but the special defense buff does go up for the Torkoal and the Raichu. And now Chandelure just about hanging on from that, but does Oma try and go for the Ally Switch again? You know, is Matt, it does leave Matt in a bit of an awkward spot, but you don't like to Ally Switch too many times in a row. You know, it becomes a little bit too easy to predict, but you know, you can catch your opponent off guard as well, so keep an eye out for that. Both coaches just deciding what they want to do. You know, that Torkoal with his Dynamax, so no Dynamax used by Oma yet. He's probably going to be looking to bring that Metagross in, but Speed Swap comes out from the Raichu. That makes Torkoal go first, and the Max Flare is going to get a crit as well, and it hits through that Arca Berry, and Amoonguss goes down. But Chandelure does get that Trick Room up, so that's going to allow the Metagross to come in, and that Torkoal is going to be moving so fast thanks to that Speed Swap from the Raichu. But important to note that Raichu is going to be the slowest thing on the field now, so Matt can maybe just try and reset that speed on that Torkoal and get something going if Oma just bring in the Metagross. But he's going to have to keep his eye out as well, because you know that Chandelure could go for an Ally Switch and it's going to just eat that a Max Flare from the Torkoal. And rather than going that Metagross and getting the damage. So that could be really bad for the Voodoo Boys if they make the wrong prediction. Looks to have made his choice up against that Metagross. You're definitely going to see Metagross go for his Dynamax here. This is the last turn of Torko's Dynamax as well. So if he's unlucky enough to proc a policy here on Metagross and it's going to live, then that Torko's not going to enjoy eating a Max Quake or a Rockfall from the Metagross. There is the Dynamax from the Metagross. Alex Switch does come out from the speed swap as we expected from the Raichu. Quake is going to take out the Chandelure, so I don't think he quite read the swap unfortunately there, but does take out the Chandelure, so it's now a 2v4 and Torko's Dynamax is going to end. And in comes now Water Urshifu. So Water Urshifu in a little bit of a spot here, you know, the sun is up, so its water attacks are going to be, you know, halved. Raichu still hanging around, still, you know, holding onto its balloon, just floating away. Those helium balloons, oh no, it's too late, we're floating away. But it looks like Torko is going to go for that eruption, you know, while Trick Room is up. Eruption comes out, that's not going to do enough to the Metagross, and does quite a bit of damage to Urshifu, but it's going to proc the policy on the Metagross. Quake goes off, takes the Torkoal out. It is now 2v3, and Oma can really get something going here. There's a Surging Strikes. That is going to pop the balloon, but Raichu is going to live through those Surging Strikes, but it's going to Volt Switch out here, and that's going to take Urshifu down to 10% HP, so that's a big amount of damage with that special defense buff from that Quake, proving super useful. Now in comes the Garchomp, and what's going to swap in as Raichu swaps itself back in. But does Metagross have the Hailstorm? It had Hailstorm last week, it had Hailstorm against 200Candies in week 6, so does he have it on there again? You know, that Garchomp is going to just get absolutely swatted by a Max Hailstorm here, so definitely something to keep an eye out for. And Raichu swaps out, there's a Mesprit, Protect comes out from the Urshifu, Hailstorm into the Garchomp. I think Matt expecting the Quake into the Raichu, but gets it wrong, and Garchomp taking out by the Hail is now a 2v2 as Metagross's Dynamax ends. We are on our last turn of Trick Room as Raichu now swaps back in. It's all up to Raichu and Mesprit for the Voodoo Boys. Oma's done a great job of just playing it patiently and bring it right back, and Metagross just getting some big kills here. You know, waiting to use his Dynamax rather than using it first turn like Voodoo Boys did. And that's worked out really well in his favour. Now Urshifu on 4% HP is going to go down next turn to the Hail if it doesn't go down this turn either way, so can't try and risk a Protect here, I wouldn't have thought. But you can at least try and take care of one of the monsters here. I think if you take care of the Mesprit here, then the Raichu's in one hell of a spot. Tech does fail on the Urshifu, and the Fake Out is going to take it out, so it's now all up to Metagross. Air Quick though, that's not going to hit the Mesprit thanks to Levitate. Fire Punch is going to take it down to 29% HP. Raichu goes down to that Air Quick, and the Burn goes off against the Metagross as now Trick Room ends. So now Mesprit is going to be going first, and Matt knows exactly what button to hit here. He can hit it with the Fire Punch, and that is going to take care of it. And Oma getting horrible flashbacks. The last time is Mesprit takes out the Metagross, and Voodoo Boys take game numero uno. Well, a great start for the Voodoo Boys there, and Oma now has it all to do to try and bring it back, but in comes Metagross and the Aerodactyl, the duo we spoke about in the team preview, and it's Klefki and the Charizard from the Voodoo Boys, so that could be interesting then. If Aerodactyl's able to, so there's no Fake Out this time from Matt, so if Aerodactyl's just free to go for a Tailwind here, and that Metagross is going to go faster than the Charizard. You know, one Rockfall from that Metagross Charizard's going to be absolutely toast. So how does Matt play this here? Metagross goes for his Dynamax. There is the trick from the Klefki. Swaps the eject button onto Metagross and gets its weakness policy. So no policy this time for Metagross. And Tailwind does go up for Aerodactyl. But unfortunately, either way, I think, you know, Charizard's going to go down to the Rockfall the next time around. I think Max Guard goes off again. And I don't really see what Klefki can do in this spot. You know, it does have the weakness policy now, but it looks to be only having, you know, the one attack on its moveset there. So it's going to be very dependent on what the Voodoo Boys have in the back. You know, we expect Garchomp to be there, but while Metagross has speed, you know, it's going to hit Garchomp with a Hailstorm, and it's going to be in a world of trouble. is making their choice what they want to do in this turn number 2. Aerodactyl now just free to go for a bulldoze now. Drop those speeds. Well, at least drop the speed of the Klefki, but get Policy. Well, and actually, no, you can't get a Policy, but what am I saying? Policy is no longer on that Metagross. Rockslide comes out from the Aerodactyl. That does so much damage to Charizard, and Charizard is going to go down to that Rock Ball. The G-Max is ended, and Charizard just dies for nothing. And that Metagross has another turn of its Dynamax left to go, and that's a bad spot for Matt. That's not a great start, as now Garchomp comes in, but we've got 2 turns of Tailwind left to go, and I don't know that you can stall it out while Metagross has access to that Hailstorm. Klefki swaps out, in comes the Raichu. It's got that balloon. Rock Slide does miss that Raichu, so not going to break the balloon. That does a little bit of damage to Garchomp, but Hailstorm does take it out. And it's now going to be all left to Raichu and Klefki against Metagross and Aerodactyl. Metagross Dynamax is going to end, but that's not a spot you want to be in, as Klefki now breaks back into the field. But this is not good for the Bully Boys, and I think the Bastiodons are going to take this game number 2, unfortunately. Protect comes out from the Aerodactyl. That's going to stop any Volt Switch. Sunny Day goes up. There's the Earthquake. It is immune. Raichu's immune because of that balloon, but that's going to put the Policy on the Klefki. Volt Switch, as we said, gets protected, gets stopped by that Aerodactyl, so good protect there from Oma. Good read. Stops that Aerodactyl from potentially going down to that Volt Switch. Yeah, I think that's really the only sort of damaging move that Raichu can go for here. But Klefki gets its Policy proc. There's the Rock Slide. So that is going to break the balloon on the Raichu. At the very least, does a little bit of damage to both. There's the Volt Switch, just goes off. Aerodactyl lives through that, but there's a Dazzling Gleam from the Klefki, and Klefki gets itself a kill. And that procs the eject button on the Metagross as well, so Metagross flies out of there, but it doesn't matter because it's going to have that option to swap back in. Tailwind has ended as well, but now in comes the Chandelure, and that Klefki's in a world of trouble. You know, one fire attack here, I think it's going to be game, set, and match, or an Earthquake from the Metagross. And now the balloon's popped on the Raichu as well. It's in a bit of a trouble. This is going to be tied up at 1 apiece. Great stuff from over. There's a speed swap there. The Dazzling Gleam goes off. It's not doing enough. Both Mons on the side resist. Ben Jealousy goes off. That takes out the Klefki. Raichu just about hangs on. The Earthquake, though, is going to take Raichu out. Doesn't quite take out the his own Mon. And Oma ties us all up. Chandelure hanging on at the end there. And, you know, just absolutely bopping that Charizard. And we move on to game number 3. It's Aerodactyl and Chandelure this time. And it is Garchomp and Raichu that lead the line for the Bully Boys. So now does have that fake out pressure on the Aerodactyl, so Oma knows he can't go for the Tailwind straight off the bat. And Chandelure now, you know, he might try and get Trick Room to go here instead. You know, Garchomp is a fast move. The Airstream Water swaps in. Garchomp goes straight for his Dynamax. Protect goes off against the Aerodactyl. And Draining Kiss comes out from the Raichu, and that's going to proc a weakness policy on Garchomp. Max Quake into the Airstream, and that takes it out. Water Airstream goes down, and that is first blood to the Bully Boys. And Garchomp now is going to be a formidable foe with that 2x attack. And, oof. This is a spot for Oma, but does know he can get the Tailwind up this turn. And he can even proc a Bulldoze if he wanted to as well. And that's going to drop the speed on Garchomp. It's not going to affect Raichu while it's still got its balloon. But, you know, just the speed drop on the Garchomp could be really useful. Really how strong it is. But I would have thought that the Tailwind's got to go up this turn. You know, I think even without the weakness policy proc, that Garchomp is not going to eat a Hailstorm. It is 4 times weak to Ice. Metagross does cover his Dynamax. Max Guard comes out from the Garchomp. There's the Tailwind. Max Hailstorm is going to get blocked by that Max Guard Volt Switch into the Aerodactyl. That takes down to 34% HP. And Raichu swaps out, and in comes the Mesprit then. So Mesprit is scary for. Obviously, Oma knows that thing has Fire Punch. So got to keep an eye out for that for sure. Garchomp then, it's already used up its Max Guard, so it knows he's not going to be able to block another Hailstorm there. And if I think if Garchomp goes down, it's they're going to be in a bit of a spot. You know, Oma's going to be free to set that Bulldoze up and get Metagross going for its policy this turn. And it's going to become increasingly difficult to stop at that point. But Ice Switch comes out from the Mesprit. There's the Bulldoze. Mesprit's not going to care thanks to its Levitate. That's going to drop the speed of the Garchomp. But that is going to proc the Policy on the Metagross. And it goes into that spot. And the map makes a great read. Hailstorm, Mesprit lives through that. And Max Quake takes out the Metagross, and it is now a 2v4 for Orma. So great ally switch there from the Bulu Boys, works out really well in his favour, and Chandelure now swaps in. Tailwind's still up for another 210, so Chandelure and the Aerodactyl are going to be going first. It's whether Orma has something for Garchomp and Mesprit, so Mesprit only just hanging on, so I think it's going to go down this turn either way. There's the Rock Slide from the Aerodactyl. That does take out the Mesprit. There's the Shadow Ball, trying to drop the special defense on the Garchomp, which it does. And there you go, the Iron Head into the Aerodactyl. So Chandelure has it all to do, and that only did about 20% damage to Garchomp. And so I think this is going to be it. Then so Raichu now swaps in. And I think one Earthquake from this Garchomp is going to do it. And it's going to win in the game. And Bulu Boys are going to take this one 2-1. So Bulu Boys getting another win over Orma's California Bastiodons and dragging Bastiodons right into that fight for those final 2 spots of playoff. Shadow Ball not quite doing enough. There's the Volt Switch into the Chandelure. So Matt choosing to swap the Raichu out and bring in the Torkoal. There is the Earthquake from Garchomp. That's going to take out his own Torkoal, but does take out the Chandelure for good measure. And Bulu Boys getting the 2-1 win there. So GG's to Orma. That was a really, really fun game to play. We had a lot of fun in VC chatting about that. Really sort of annoyed about game 2. I made a really bad call with that one, but Orma, you know, I can't take anything away from Orma. He still played super well. I think I got very lucky with the ally switch call as well. I think if Orma calls that, then it's GG's. That game 3 goes completely differently. But you know, that this is the way Pokemon works. And that means Bulu Boys are locked in for 2nd place then. But can Latvian lock himself into that top spot and win himself the regular season? Our final game of the week, it is Miami Heat versus Slithering Sceptiles. Last time these two teams played, unsurprisingly, Latvian got the 2-0 win over Jabba's Slithering Sceptiles. I think this was a week 3 game, so this was Jabba was currently on a 2-0 start and has lost every game since then. So, you know, Latvian's team, as we say all the time, is super, super versatile. It can be super hard to predict and play against. You know, you get the prediction wrong and it can be difficult stuff. But as of recent, you know, the first 2 weeks since the mid-season break, we've seen Lat use the Frostlass and Tauros. You know, Tauros with the Anchor Point ability uses the Frost Breath from the Frostlass, is a move that always crits, gets the Anchor Point going on the Tauros, and that thing can be a nightmare to stop if you've got no way of stopping it. And of course, the Blastoise and Cinderace duo as well. Blastoise able to get the Fake Outs going, and Cinderace with the Libero ability can just hit you with whatever it wants, get that stab boost on its attack, and really put in the work. Of course, don't sleep on that Glastrier as well, and also has access to Trick Room and Tailwind on that Whimsicott, or you can go for a copycat Trick Room with the slow Soaking Galar and Railu. Against Jabba's team, you might expect the Pincurchin to come out. You know, that thing has Lightning Rod. Last time these two played, Pincurchin ended up just putting a complete stop to Jabba's Dracozolt and didn't really have an option for it, so Jabba definitely going to have to keep an eye out for that. Might try and not bring too much of an electric contingency. Over on Jabba's side then, not made the best of start of life since the mid-season break. But they've still got a very strong team. You know, that Arcanine can really put in the work, has access to Justified, and that Togekiss as well. If it can get some screens going up, that thing is super bulky. If it can keep itself around for a little bit, you know, it can just sort of play spoiler and keep whatever's next to it alive. Of course, his mascot Pokemon in Sceptile, you know, that thing with Unburden. Typically, Jabba has been running it with Sash with not really very much success. It's been Dragon Dancing, and once that Unburden's procced, is obviously going to be going super fast. Might try and choose to change it up here, but we will see. And of course, Weavile, Lopunny, Barbracle, Galar, Rapidash, and Wailord as well lining us out, along with Coco, and of course that G-Max Toxtricity. I haven't really seen too much of the G-Max Toxtricity since week 6, but might choose to bring it here to try and get some useful paras off. But anyways, our final game of week number 8 is going to be Miami Heat taking on the Slithering Sceptiles. Let's take a look then as we lead the line. It is the Tauros and the Frostlass as we expected, and it is Weavile and the Sceptile from the Slithering Sceptiles. Does he try and maybe proc a weakness ball, see if he's got on his Tauros, go for his Dynamax, but Fake Out into the Frostlass. It's a Ghostmon. That doesn't quite work out. Swords Dance gets up from the Sceptile, but now Tauros is going to get its Anger Point procced. Max Strike is going to take Sceptile down with Sash, so that is going to proc on Burden, but is going to drop the speed on both Weavile and Sceptile. Ally Switch comes out, Acrobatics not quite doing enough to Frostlass, but Max Strike is going to take the Weavile out and drops that speed on that Sceptile even more as now Togekiss swaps in. Heat Wave is going to take out that Frost Slash, so Jabba does get him on down. And Acrobatics from the Sceptile, not quite doing enough. You maybe would have thought that Jabba would have went for the Dynamax there, but not to be. It is now 2v3 as Tauros Dynamax ends. Sceptile still kicking around on that 1% HP as Arcanine now swaps in, gets that Intim off, and this is going to drop the Tauros attack by a little bit. Arcanine goes for his Dynamax, but Fake Out is going to take out the Sceptile. That is the risky run with the Focus Sash. Quake not quite doing enough to that Tauros from the Arcanine, and Arcanine going to go down to a Body Slam from that Tauros for his troubles as Lat takes game number 1. We're moving at a high rate of speed here as Arcanine and Togekiss this time lead the line for Jabba, and it is Riolu and Slowking Galar. So Lat maybe looking to get the Trick Room go, but Caution goes out from the Riolu Thunderwave procs on the Togekiss. There is the Snarl from the Arcanine's going to drop the special attack on Slowking, so that's interesting to know, but he's boosted his own attack, so maybe it's a physical attack on Slowking. Togekiss swaps out for Lopunny, and in comes the Glacier. Now Trick Room is up. Extreme Speed is not going to really tickle the Glacier too much. There's Sludge Bomb into Lopunny. That is going to pop its balloon as Blastoise now swaps in with its Room Server, so it is going to get that speed drop, and Glacier goes for its Dynamax, but Fake Out not getting the prediction run there from Jabba. He gets a defense buff, and he's going to get Chilling Near procced, and Glastrier is going to start doing well. But there's the Heat Wave from Arcanine, but that's going to proc a Policy on that Glastrier, and Glastrier now can potentially use Wreck House. There's the Max Hailstorm. Even though it's not effective, it takes out the Arcanine, and it is now 4v2. Water Spout in that Togekiss. Thunderwave into the Blastoise at Togekiss, just about hangs on, just under half HP as Coco now swaps in. There's the Electric Surge, but Trick Room's still up for one more turn. Shooty goes for a Max Guard, but there's the Hailstorm that takes out the Coco, so Coco doesn't get one chance to use his Dynamax, and Spout is going to take out the Togekiss, and Lat keeps on rolling on, and he is your Season 2 British Pokemon League West Division regular season champion, so congrats, all congrats to Latvians Miami Heat. Great stuff there. Jabba just had absolutely no answer to either teams against Lat, and Lat played that super well, so the losing run continues for Jabba, but he still has a chance to make playoffs. There's still a chance, but he has got to win next week. But Latvian now fully confirmed for first place, is our regular season champion for the West Division. So Latvian now will be looking to try and close out the season unbeaten, and will be able to focus on playoffs. But for now, next week, let's take a look at next week's fixtures before we move on. Take a look at the schedule, and then we'll take a look at the league table as well. So, as we scroll on down here, week number 9 then. So, as you can see over in the West Division, it is the Voodoo Boys taking on Miami Heat, first versus second. Latvian obviously getting the one up of the Voodoo Boys last time, and I think the Voodoo Boys will be looking for a bit of revenge there, but that'll be a really close one, and we'll be able to see, is Lat's unbeaten record going to be the first to fold, or is the Voodoo Boys unbeaten record going to fold as well? We shall certainly see. 200Candies versus Jabba's Slithering Sceptiles, so another, I mean, we call it in football a relegation 6-pointer, but this really is, if Candies wins, he qualifies for playoffs. If Jabba wins, he keeps himself in the fight, and he takes us all the way to the final week, as Long Island Goomys take on California BASTIODONS-O. It is 3rd versus 6th, 4th versus 5th. If 5th and 6th place teams win, if Goomys and Slithering Sceptiles win, then we go to week number 10 to decide our final 2 playoff spots in the West Division. But if Candies and Oma's Bastiodons are able to get a win, then it'll all be decided by next week in the West Division, and Candies and Bastiodons will move on to playoffs. Over in the East Division is the battle at the bottom. Both teams not able to make playoffs now, so both just playing for pride, as Newcastle Thundurus take on the Shadow Kings. Toastar Belgrade take on the Inglorious Services, so we'll be looking to bounce back from that defeat after losing out to Crizzle, and Aaron will be trying to build a little bit of form now after getting that win over Dogsy Shadow Kings this week. And finally, to round us out, we have got CELTIC CELEBIS taking on South Croydon Saws. Last time out, the justified Kabalion really put in the work against the Celebis, but Draco now, he hasn't lost since that game. He's on a 6-game winning streak, so that is going to be some streak to try and end. That is going to be a really spicy game, and we'll be able to see who goes second, stays second, goes second. Draco has a chance to go first, or is Chris going to jump above him and go into that second spot? But anyway, let's take a look now at our rankings, our league tables over in the West Division there. As you can see, Latvians Miami Heat on an 8-0 record, plus 16, still at 100%. Not one person able to take a single game off him, so Latvian really running strong. Beauty Boys confirmed for second place on a 6-2 record. That unbeaten streak continues. And Candies now moves back up to 3rd place after that win over Long Island Goomys. Olmed dropping back down to 4th after losing out to Beauty Boys, both on the 3-5 record. And as you can see in 5th and 6th, this week's game is super important for both the Goomys and the Slithering Sceptiles. both need a win if they are to make it out. But the most exciting part is that these two play each other in week number 10. So it's going to be a battle to see who gets that final spot in playoffs. And that's going to be really, really exciting. Over in the East Division then, Aaron's Inglorious and CELTIC CELEBIS both on the 6-2 record, but Aaron just about has it on match record. But that could all change next week. But I'm sure Aaron, as I said, is going to be looking to build on that win from this week. South Croydon Swords Crizzle stays in 3rd place, but now has it more solidly on a 5-3 record after getting that win over 4th place Toadstar Belgrade. Toadstar Belgrade on a completely evens now, 4 for 4. And it looks very much like he's locked in that 4th spot, but you never know. There's still 2 games left to go. It could all change, but, you know, Rio's got a hell of a job to try and finish 3rd now. And of course, in those final 2 spots, Newcastle Thundurus then losing out on making playoffs this season after losing out to Draco on the 2-6 record, and Dogsy Shadow Kings down the bottom there on the 1-7 after that loss to Inglorious Surfers. But that is going to do it for this week's show. I hope you all really enjoyed that. And next week, we're on our penultimate week before playoffs, so make sure you tune in next Monday at 8 PM. We will be on time this time, I promise. I've been your host, Matt Star. I will see you all next week. Mwah!